หมู่เฮาจะไปไหนกัน
There are a lot of caves in Thailand. And this story is about 13 kids who got lost in one of them.
Hey Rick, you following what's happening in Thailand? Some kids stuck in a cave.
I don't think there are a lot of incidents that I would call the perfect crisis. There were so many things that should have gone wrong.
The waters, the floods, the storms. The whole world came together to make sure that the boys came out alive.
I've made a number of movies based on real events, but this was one where I wanted to be as journalistic as I possibly could be. And one of the things that I wanted to convey was that Thai people saved these boys. And action.
You go, we follow.
We swim together.
We try to reflect the reality of what happened.
You're talking about a 5-hour dive. No visibility, pulling against very strong currents.
These kids were 2.3 kilometers inside the cave, and that's not even the beginning of it.
The cave has the most extreme, terrifying gauntlet of passageways that no one could imagine any of the kids surviving.
Hello?
Hey,
They're here. How many of you?
13
13?
Yes.
Brilliant.
How the hell do you think we're going to get those kids out?
This event felt like it was an almost impossible situation, a no-win situation.
As the world was watching, the Thai people represented so much strength and dignity.
It's the human spirit of collaboration and helping before asking questions that is really inspiring.
It's about being there to help your neighbor and to stand with them until their child comes out.
Okay, lads. Let's do it.
Ron felt that it was really important to have people from Thailand working on this film because he really does care about getting it right.
Cut. Excellent.
The Thai people really accomplished a miracle, and this movie is a really powerful case study in the anatomy of that miracle.
Oh, do you know what?
We met on Zoom.
We did meet on Zoom. We actually met downstairs here ages ago.
Really?
For a thing. Yeah, there was a thing going on, and I was with some people who knew you, and you wouldn't remember, Joel.
Oh, that's devastating.
But that was here. No, but you wouldn't remember, man. It was years ago. I think it was like
probably
4
drunk.
years ago. You were hammered. They were carrying you out, and I said, "Nice to meet you," and you just drooled on my hand. No, we met on Zoom. Met on Zoom. We had to quarantine for 2 weeks in Australia. You didn't though, did you?
I didn't have to. No, I was already there.
We had to quarantine in Australia for 2 weeks, those of us flying in, and we had Zoom rehearsals. So I think the first time we met was in a little window, a little bit like this.
Well, I remember it significantly, partly because the day the boys went missing in the cave and it was first reported, it was my birthday, 23rd of June. And I just remember being glued to the television, and it's so interesting to now be involved in the story and understand so much more about how the rescue, particularly the rescue, took place and the details of that, which I was completely unaware of before. But yeah, I remember it was one of those events where I was just fixated every day. Like all of us, I think, brought all of us together in a way. We were all hoping that there'd be a positive outcome, and thank God there was. And I don't think a movie would exist if there hadn't been. That'd be an awful film.
It's an awful film, man.
To watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you?
No, I was the same. I was in the UK, and I remember because of the time difference, there was quite an amazing. I'd wake up in the morning and straight away sort of turn on the news. It was one of those long-running things, and I remember the speed at which it seemed impossible to suddenly actually they've done it. And I remember thinking, oh my God, only a few days ago, everyone was sort of going, there's no way, what's going to happen to these boys? And but I remember seeing just the scale of it at the time, thinking, oh my God, look at the size of that mountain, covered with people. Every single person you could see, thousands of people, all doing something to try and save these boys. It was beautiful, and it kind of unified the world, I think, in a way. It was what everyone was talking about, and there was this hope, I think, people projecting hope out into the universe, which is very rare. I don't think I've ever experienced anything like it since. Yeah.
I find there's something interesting when you get involved with a film that kind of demands that you learn a skill that you're not really otherwise familiar with. And for us, the underwater diving and understanding that aspect, it actually forces you to do a lot of preparation, because you can't just turn up on the day and be like, all right, well, let's put this stuff on and let's see how it goes. You, for even insurance purposes, have to prove that you can do certain things. You have to prove to yourself that you're capable of doing these things. So, you know, there's a lot of research and reading and preparation that can be done about the stuff about character above water, but there was a demand for us to really take the time, for safety's sake and for the research of the film, to try and honor the men that have been doing this stuff for decades, and we have to fast track that. So it's a real pleasure to go to work knowing that you get to learn something, but it's something that's necessary, and I'm really thankful for that.
Exactly what Joel just said, that it was a really, I think, giving an appreciation and further respect for what these guys did. I think all of us, at least once in the film, really struggled with the physical elements of it, and were hit by that. But also, what was amazing about this story was everyone wanted to get every detail right. And I remember, even from the very first Zoom meetings I had with Ron, he was sending me files and files of video footage and archive footage and documentary series made and National Geographic, and we could just absorb it all. And I remember just thinking, we are so lucky. Your work's just done for you, really. You can just absorb all of this stuff, and that attention to detail went through the whole filming process. So in a way, it felt like a lot of it was being done for us. You know, you could just sort of turn up. We came into this cave, and everyone was there, and it was just sort of trying to keep yourself present in that. I think actually they'd be the same, because I remember having to do you remember that letterbox tank?
Oh, yeah.
The one, there was this stretch, it was the third tank we went into to film, and it's the section of the film where you see a lot of us squeezing through this kind of letterbox area. And I remember thinking, this is going to be impossible to even get through here, let alone with a stunt double playing a kid when we have to escort these people back. And then a lot of the time they were asking us to do it with a what they called selfie cam. So we were holding a camera looking at ourselves while going through these tunnels. And I remember thinking, this is going to be impossible. But watching, we would do it one after another, and I think I was after Colin. He'd just done his pass, and I was watching it on the monitor, and I found it remarkable because it was such an amazing shot. It looked so claustrophobic. You could see the effort in his face. And so I just watched someone overcome that, and then it was my turn to do it, and you find yourself out the other end and think, I just did that. That was quite an amazing experience.
Yeah. I had a similar moment where I had a camera strapped to me, I had a stunt person, I was moving through like a real S-bend, and it was pitch black, and it was the one moment in the shooting that I started to panic. I started to panic in my head, and really brought home to me how difficult and challenging that as an operation would have been. But for me in that moment, reminded myself of how seriously we had to take things. On another side, above ground, I was sort of really interested in Harry's dilemma about making a decision that was about trying to save children's lives, knowing that in doing that, he may actually do the opposite and be responsible for killing them. And I was almost at the end of the shoot. I had just become a father, and the idea of that emotional impact of a decision like that about the care of the lives of children, I found it really quite overwhelming, and it really started to get under my skin that my real life was creeping into the shooting in a way that I was like, do I welcome this in? But maybe it's not right for the movie, because these guys had a certain cool and calm under pressure, and I was internally falling to pieces.
ว่ามึงเอาจะไปไหนกัน
Hey Rick, you following what's happening in Thailand? Some kids stuck in a cave. We're on the list of rescue divers.
It's just a tourist cave.
It looks easy, but when it's flooded, it's impassable.
Takes a certain kind of mindset for the deep cave diving. You have to be a bit nuts.
They're very, very dangerous.
High water level and the low visibility.
Barely shoulder wide, pulling against very strong currents.
Last seen 9 days ago, 12 boys and their coach are trapped in the flooded caves.
Hello?
Hey,
They're here.
How many of you?
13
13!
They're all alive.
Can we go out now
ผมยืนยันได้นะครับว่าเด็กๆต้องออกมาได้อย่างปลอดภัยครับ
You're talking about a 5-hour dive.
You try and dive those kids the whole way, all you'll be bringing out is dead bodies.
With oxygen running low, the entire nation is anxiously waiting for what will happen next.
What are you thinking?
Just a crazy idea.
You've got a skill none of the rest of us have.
No. It's insane. It's unethical. It's illegal.
Man's already died.
We do nothing, we'll be bringing them out dead for sure.
So you are expecting casualties.
Yes. I expect casualties.
John, you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. Just give me a minute, please.
Okay. We can make it.